In the shadows of Krakoa, where gods, monsters, and legends walk freely, there exists a mutant who does not merely see the future, she reshapes it. Tarot cards whisper secrets, symbols bleed with meaning, and fate itself bends when her fingers touch the arcane. This is not a story about brute strength or cosmic blasts. This is a story about destiny and the woman who dares to rewrite it, Arcana. In a universe overflowing with Omega-level titans and reality-breaking entities, Arcana stands apart, not louder, not stronger, but deeper. Her power doesn't scream across battlefields. It hums quietly in symbols, in choices, in moments that decide whether a life rises or collapses. Arcana is one of Marvel's most underrated mutants, often overlooked, often underestimated, but never insignificant. She is the embodiment of Marvel's mystical undercurrent, where mutant kind collides with magic, destiny, and ancient archetypes. To understand Arcana is to understand a different kind of power, one rooted in knowledge, foresight, and the dangerous temptation to control what should never be controlled. This is not a tale of hero versus villain. This is a story about choice, fear, and the unbearable weight of knowing what comes next. Before she was Arcana, she was Anna Marie Jaff, a quiet, observant child growing up in a world that felt slightly off. She noticed patterns others ignored, repeated symbols, dreams that came true, coincidences that weren't coincidences at all. Her mutant power manifested subtly, but terrifyingly. Tarot cards responded to her touch. Runes rearranged themselves. Simple drawings became conduits for real-world effects. Fate didn't just reveal itself to Anna, it listened. When the truth finally surfaced, it wasn't through a dramatic explosion or a public awakening. It came in a whisper, in a moment of realization. The future she had foreseen could be changed by her. That knowledge came with fear, because every altered outcome carried consequences. Every symbol activated rippled outward, affecting lives she would never meet. When she crossed paths with the new mutants, Anna stepped into a larger world, a world where her gift was no longer a private burden but a tactical asset. She took the name Arcana, embracing the mystical dimension of her mutation, even as she feared where it might lead her. Unlike mutants who learned to punch harder or fly faster, Arcana learned something far more dangerous: how easily good intentions could become catastrophic mistakes. Arcana's journey is defined by tension between knowledge and restraint. At first, she uses her abilities cautiously, manipulating probability and outcomes in small, almost harmless ways. A lucky break, a narrow escape, a battle turning just enough to save lives. But power tempts, especially power that promises certainty. As Arcana grows, so does her understanding of symbolic magic. She learns that her mutant gift doesn't create power. It channels existing forces, ancient and primal. Fate, chaos, destiny, forces that do not care about morality. Her internal conflict sharpens. If she can prevent tragedy, isn't it her responsibility to do so? And if she knows the future is inaction a form of cruelty? This struggle isolates her. Teammates rely on her visions but fear her influence. Enemies underestimate her until it's too late. And Arcana herself begins to question whether she is shaping destiny or being shaped by it. Her transformation is not a descent into darkness, nor a clean ascent into heroism. It is something messier, more human. She learns that even perfect foresight cannot save everyone, and that sometimes accepting loss is the hardest power of all. One of Arcana's most defining arcs unfolds during her time with the New Mutants, where her abilities are tested under real pressure. In battle after battle, her foresight saves lives, but each victory feels incomplete. She sees alternative futures where outcomes were worse, and some where they were better. The knowledge eats at her. In another pivotal storyline, Arcana confronts the darker implications of her powers when mystical forces begin to notice her. Ancient entities recognize her as a living conduit, a bridge between mutant kind and magic. They tempt her with greater clarity, greater control, at the cost of her autonomy. The most haunting moments come not from cosmic threats but from quiet decisions. A card drawn too early, a symbol activated too late, a future altered only to create a worse one. Arcana is forced to confront a brutal truth: destiny resists control. Push it too hard and it pushes back harder. In later appearances tied to Krakoa-era mutant politics, Arcana's relevance becomes clearer than ever. In a nation built on resurrection and second chances, her abilities raise terrifying questions. If death can be undone, what does fate mean anymore? And if fate is meaningless, then what is her role? Arcana becomes a living reminder that even in a world of miracles, consequences still matter. Arcana's power lies in probability manipulation through symbolic magic. Tarot cards, runes, sigils, these are not props, but extensions of her mutant ability. She can influence outcomes, foresee possibilities, and subtly bend reality's flow. Her greatest strength is also her greatest weakness. Knowledge, knowing what might happen, creates paralysis, guilt, obsession. Personality-wise, Arcana is introspective, cautious, and deeply empathetic. She feels responsible for outcomes beyond her control. Unlike reckless heroes, she hesitates, not out of fear, but out of awareness. She is defined by contradiction. A mutant who could dominate fate, yet chooses restraint. A seer haunted not by the unknown, but by knowing too much. Arcana represents a rare intersection in Marvel storytelling, the fusion of mutation and mysticism. She challenges the idea that mutant powers are purely scientific anomalies, reminding readers that Marvel's universe is built on layers of magic, myth, and meaning. Though often underutilized, Arcana's presence enriches the New Mutants' legacy and deepens Marvel's exploration of destiny versus choice. She stands as a counterpoint to characters who act first and reflect later. In a universe obsessed with power escalation, Arcana proves that subtlety can be just as compelling and far more dangerous. Arcana does not conquer worlds. She does not shatter skies. She does something far more unsettling. She reminds us that every choice matters and that knowing the future doesn't make it easier to live with. In a universe where gods fall and heroes rise, Arcana walks a quieter path, carrying the unbearable weight of destiny in her hands. Because sometimes, the most powerful force in the Marvel universe isn't strength. It's choice.